just make sure everything is, and of course there's the train. Hi guys, hang on. Oh, because Mr. Bowie has decided to join us, so bear with, camera angle. Excellent. Hello, welcome to a live. Let me just load up everything so I can see everyone wanting to do some comments. It's been like 7 months since I've done a live. So hello, let me know if you are here. Hello, Get Into Life Budgeting and Lifestyle. Let me know in the chat who is here. Hello, Diary of My Frugal Life. Hello, hello. Oh, I can even see the feed as well. That's changed since the last time I've done a live. Hi guys. Love my co-host. He is in a bit of a funny mood this evening, so we're going to see how long he is with us for. He's been wanting to go out, then he's been going out, then he's been running back in. So we're going to see how long Bowie is going to be joining us for. But for now, I have a co-host. Those of you who are just arriving, let me know in the chat, what are you drinking? I have a Pepsi Max, lovely and exciting with a little bit of ice. And yeah, welcome to the first live of 2024. As you come in, don't forget to like the video. Hi Donna, and let me know what you're drinking, and don't forget to take off your shoes as you come in. So we'll give it time just for the notification to go out. We'll give it another minute or so, and then we will get started, because what I want to try and do this evening is just have a general catch up and a chat with you guys. If you've got any comments or questions, you can leave them in the chat and I will get to them. I have got some savings challenges that need to be tidied up and sorted, so that's a good little chat and a do, as I like to call it. So yeah, those of you who are just coming in, hello, let me know in the chat who's here and who isn't. How is everyone doing? How's your January? Hi Sarah. How's your January been so far? Because I can't quite believe that we're only 12 days in. Lemonade with juice, good choice. From Donna. Jennifer. Yeah, Bowie is, he's yeah, he's okay. We went back to the vets on Monday this week for a review. I'm eating my dinner. That's a good thing, that you're having dinner. We went back this week for a meds review, and we've decided, like, on balance, we're going to pause one of his medications because he is leaving. He's in a funny mood. We need to, or I need to, get his weight up, because when he was in and out of the vets and quite ill, he's lost more weight than myself and the vet are happy with. So on balance, we're pausing one of his medications for a month. So he's been causing me a little bit of worry this week. Nothing as serious as before, but yeah, seeing him on the scales, seeing the on the scales, number on the scales, was not the thing that I wanted on my Monday afternoon, but there we go. So he's back to 3 meals a day plus lots of treats, and the medication is paused for now. But yeah, hence why feels like my monthly budget is constantly changing, and January is a really, really long month and we're only 12 days in. So how has everything been going for you guys? How are your budgets going? How are your goals so far? Have you quit on any New Year's resolutions already, or have you tweaked them? Let me know. I like to know all of these things. Poor Mr. Bowie. Hi GR3. Yeah, he's can Bowie eat treats? So upon discussion with a vet, because he's technically meant to be on a like veterinary prescription diet where you're not meant to have treats, but they've looked at everything on balance and gone, we need to get weight on him quite quickly just to make sure that there is nothing else underlying, anything else underlying. And actually one of the medications he was on was really, really bitter, so he was basically just refusing dinner, and therefore it also meant he wasn't then eating his like other 2 meds in the evening. So I spoke to the vet and she's gone, he technically shouldn't have treats, but we need to get the weight on him, so yes, give him treats, but let's just monitor this. So I now have things I need to look out for because I've now stopped this medication for him. which I don't, not fun. And then also just the general side effects of, okay, he's now having treats with this diet and it may not go well. But yeah, that's something I have committed to, having an unwell cat. Hi Nicole, listening, not working. Deirdre's budgeting journey. That's fine. I do that to quite a few people. I lurk in an awful lot of comments and live streams, both budgeting and non-budgeting. And I need like background chatter. I need mindless background chatter. So if I can be mindless background chatter for you this evening, that's wonderful. Yeah, he's just gone stalking off. It's just gone stalking off, so to go and have more treats. But what I have done, I was able to give treats and a special nutrition paste. So he can't have the nutrition paste because it will counteract the prescription food that he's on. But what they've said is, actually, on balance, if I'm kind of measuring the treats out throughout the day, it should be okay. And it's only while we're basically trialing for a month. It's basically like, is he losing, because he's lost. So for anyone who's like veterinary or has pets, when he was seriously ill, he was weighing in at 4.95 kilos. And as of Monday, so bearing in mind it's less than 2 months ago that this happened, as of Monday, he was down to 4.31 kilos. And you can start to see some definition in his hips and the spine as well. And I think it's down to him not wanting to have the medication that was in his evening dinner, because I'd noticed that he was leaving his food. And that's what I went into the vet to initially say, was like, right, it's been a couple of months, can we have a meds review? So we're cutting off this medication for a month, like piling the weight back on him. What I've actually been doing is cooking up a lot of like chicken, and then him having that with his food, because it's essentially just 100% meat basically, with none of the additives that comes with the treats. So something that's being monitored this week, and then back again in February. But it did kind of meant like his cat budget category is just like, oh, okay, if I'm now going to have to factor in a vet med review every month as well, okay, great. So yeah, January feels horrendously long already without it being we're not even halfway through. Can we just get to halfway through? Who designed this? Who put a 5-week month straight after Christmas and also in the coldest month of the year? It's just not fair. I have decided, therefore, I'm going to make my new year, I think, springtime, and then just survive winter, survive the outrageous flooding and horrendous ice and snow that I have had in my area, where most of the like local roads that I take to get to my school were just impassable, completely impassable, just super long detours. So if I sound slightly frazzled on a Friday night, we know why. It's been a fun couple of weeks of traveling around. But I want to try and do a live kind of every single month, and it's a lot more, these are very, very, very informal. So because I know I last did a live 7 months ago and my subscriber count was less. So if you are catching a live for the first time, these are not structured at all. These can go any which way possible. They can be dictated by you guys in the chat. So you may say something and I go off on a tangent, and I may go for half an hour or like an hour and a half. I think my very first live, I talked about the financing of costume departments in the film industry, which was like what I'd worked in previously. And we established that I was going to do a book club because I love reading. The book club has not materialized. Deirdre says spring for New Year would be good. It's very cold here, minus 50 Celsius today with the wind chill. I don't know what that is in UK found in UK. Hi Nicole, hi Mary, hello Bowie. Bowie was here. He is in my other desk sleeping by the heater. That's where he has settled for this evening. He may reappear again, but he's been a bit unsettled this week, so I'm not gonna move him too much. I don't know what that is, but we've been go with the flow. Donna, that's like such a bad suggestion. Go with the flow as determined by chat rules all. We have had like a cold snap, but we've had major flooding in my local area, and there's not many like major roads that don't get clogged up with like normal weight of traffic and things. So what a lot of us locals tend to do is we like hop on and off the side roads and just avoid Donna's laughing at me. And we, like any local, like if you grow up on your local roads, you know them like the back of your hand, and you know, like, okay, if we take this bend at this certain speed, we're not going to do that because we'll flip the car, and there's this really awful pothole that's never been fixed in like 10 years. So your local like village or local county back roads that you can just hop on and off and laugh at all the people on the main A roads. I've not been able to do that. They've been underwater, literally, for the past 2 weeks, and then as that water has started to subside, it's just frozen. So there's been lots of like flipped cars and lots of major pile-ups. So my normal 1 hour's commute each way has turned into like an hour and a half to 2 hours, which is just draining in and of itself. Yes. So yeah, start of term 2, adverse weather, and it's definitely reaffirmed like, okay, whilst the school that I'm training in, it's local-ish to me, despite being an hour. It's all of those kind of roads that I'm really familiar with, so it doesn't feel like an hour's drive. This week and last week has definitely like affirmed that I don't really want to be commuting more than half an hour to whatever school I train in. And I've also, I think, come to the decision that I do want to be training when I have my 2 following kind of years where I'm classed as like an early qualified teacher or early careers teacher. So it's kind of 2 more years of you're allowed to teach, but you're not classed as kind of a full teacher. Technically, it's a little bit of like a grey area that I don't quite understand, but it's 2 more years basically, where I can earn a salary and be employed and all of that, blah blah blah. That's fine. But I do think that I might want to stay local for those 2 years and just kind of use the support network that's around me in terms of family and friends and familiar surroundings. And I think we all know this, like I think everyone in the chat will know that there's a list of schools, either high schools or middle schools if you guys are overseas, or secondary schools if you're in the UK. And you could probably, ECT is basically a teacher badly paid Diary of My Frugal Life. Yeah, absolutely. Teacher badly paid, and if you're really lucky, there's enough team members in your department for you to be on an 80% timetable, and if you're not, then you're not going to get that. That's what I've managed to take away from this. But I have completely lost my train of thought, so I'm going to go off on another tangent, and then maybe it'll come back. Chat, remind me, what was I talking about? Because I guys, help. 12 minutes in, I've lost it already. Staying local. And am I lagging or am I okay? Can I get a thumbs up to let me know that I'm okay in the chat? Because I've just had a lagging buffering sign come up, and it might just be me, but that would be really good to know because I'm having some, again, rural living Wi-Fi issues. And chat has also frozen, which is slightly alarming. Yeah, I do think I'm just going to carry on talking and then it'll all catch up. I do think you're okay. Brilliant. Thanks, GR3. It's because I've got another device which is not the most, so there is a small delay. Brilliant. I've got another device which is not the most stable, shall we say, in terms of connections, and it's just letting me monitor that everything's okay. Oh, someone's coming back. Hello, you've got some fans in the chat. Yeah, you do. You just show them all your tail. Okay, we'll manage this. Hang on. Yeah, I do think that I do want to stay local while I see out those 2 ECT years. That's it. I know where I'm at now. I think we all know, like, locally, or the schools that we grew up with, high school, middle schools, secondary schools, wherever you are in the world, that 11 to 16 or 11 to 18, it's tech support, lol. He'd just eat it. We all know like which schools you do and don't like have the best reputation or don't have the best reputation, and which ones you would maybe avoid, or you maybe know like teachers that work in those schools that are going to give you more of a realistic view of the school environment outside of the nice shiny adverts. And yeah, I think that like while I see out this 2 years, I want to just kind of stay embedded locally. Is it going to put pressure on my finances? Yes. But at the end of the day now, so is this thing, like right here. This wonderful boy right here is now also pressure on my finances. And yeah, so I am conscious that I have made that decision. I have also seen 2 schools advertised locally that I will be applying for. So hopefully that will help. And neither of those schools will require me to move from my general area. All being well, I could maybe stay in the house I'm in now. Are you going to stick around, or are you just making your presence known and being obnoxious? Oh, we're just going to be obnoxious. Okay. Yeah. I don't think that like prices are going to go down in my area at all. I don't see why they would. There's a little bit of camera shake at the minute. This is just because this man here has walked past and brushed it. What are you looking at? You're not going to get the thing. I don't know what you've done with my other device. You've just broken that. I don't want a split screen. I don't know what a split screen means. Anyway, tech support is failing, like I said. This man here is not tech support. He definitely... I also don't want to put him through a move, I think. And it sounds like so crazy because it's like 4.31 kilos of just my heart walking outside my body almost. I realistically don't think with his health and with his heart, and it is very much a case of, you know, a 3-month to a 3-year time span with him. He got incredibly stressed and worked up going 10 minutes down the road to the local vet. And that's with me driving slowly and carefully. I can't put him through a move to, so whilst there are areas that I do desperately want to move to and live in and, you know, actively working towards, I can't put him through a move. I genuinely don't think he would survive it. And hi, do you want to come here and show everyone what you're doing because you're being cute and adorable? Okay, come here. This feels like a trap. Hi. This is definitely a trap. You're not getting any more food. You've had so much ham already. You've had so much ham already, haven't you? Yes, you have. Anyway, guys, back to humans, not cats. So yeah, his little shaved patches as well. Oh my, he's so adorable. I told you it was a trap. He is adorable. His little shaved patches that were completely like shaved are starting to grow back in. But he's definitely kind of opening the door, emerging and going, no, it's too cold, I'm coming back inside. And that has definitely helped with keeping him in as much as possible. But yeah, there's definitely some tail twitching going on, and this is a trap. This is if you try and pet me, I'm going to claw your hands. So we'll see how this goes. So yeah, so whilst there are areas of the UK that I would desperately love to live in, and one of the great things about teaching is that it is a career that certainly within the UK you can do anywhere pretty much, as long as there's a school needing a design technology teacher, which there are lots of. Not necessarily my area, but there are lots of them. And yeah, I think while I have him, I won't be doing that's enough. Don't give me that look. While I have him, I won't be undertaking like a big move. Certainly not without vet support, I think. Yeah, if he can't go 10 minutes up the road in a car in a very comfy cat carrier, nice and secured, without having a meltdown, and he did have a really stressed meltdown, then he definitely can't go an hour or half an hour away even. So yeah, that was something that I know I was looking at and exploring on this channel a few months ago now. I think it's something that I raised as this is potentially going to impact and change a lot of things. I think that video was August or September time, maybe. I feel like it was August. Maybe even July, I think. I'm trying to think back. I filmed more videos and released more videos than I thought I had done in my 1.5 years nearly on YouTube. And at the time I was definitely weighing up, and I'd asked for advice from you guys in the comments. I was definitely weighing up, is it better for my budget that I, you know, save up cover the cost of a move, and then look and see that kind of potential lower cost of living reflected in my budget. At the time, he had there was no indications that he was ill at all. We now obviously know that. And then even after I filmed that video, and as I was kind of approaching Christmas, there was a lot going on with him. Actually moving away, because I do have family dotted around the UK. We're not all concentrated in this one area. But I was me and looking at areas where there wouldn't be, you know, someone immediately on the doorstep. And it really did make me realize, like, okay, I'm now going to have these longer periods of holidays. If I want to, you know, visit my parents over Christmas, have to do what works best for you and Bowie. Yeah, absolutely. And this is, like, I think this is where, like, you have to be really, really careful. And this is just, I have no data to back this up. This is just my own experience, my own reflection. So take it with a pinch or grain or whatever of salt. I do think that, like, I'm not going to go. I may have an internal wish, for example, prior to him getting sick in November, I had an internal wish that I'd really love this time in November 2024, so a year's time, I'd really love within a year to have completely paid off all of my debt. And it was something that I was even thinking about, like, okay, am I going to, and if I have mentioned this in a video, let me know. I don't think I have. But I had this kind of, before I lost my granddad, before he got really, really ill. Yeah, it is nice to have family near you for support, because they were absolutely on hand when he was, like, sick. Within 15 minutes, they were over, driving me with him. None of that would have been possible if I was living away. And then it's just little things as well, like when your car goes in for an MOT and you might need to, like, borrow a family member's car for like 3 or 4 days while they fix it, which has happened in the past. It's a lot cheaper and easier to do that if someone's living nearby. You know, dad on hand to come and repair a thing, or any relative on hand to come and help you repair a thing. In my case, it's my dad or my other granddad. And all of that, I guess, is things that I guess you would be paying money out for, because you would need to be calling someone in to help. So whilst potentially moving, you know, away from family, but to a lower cost of living area with cheaper rents and cheaper council tax and all of those things, which are very UK specific, but I guess the equivalent thing would apply abroad, you're then actually going to spend the money in different ways. So in my case, it would be, okay, I'd like to go see my family for Christmas. I'll go stay. That's him going into a cattery prior to him being ill. It would be him going into a cattery for a week. Okay, what's those costs over Christmas? Oh, great, it's 150 quid because Christmas enhanced rates. Do they have a place for me to stay? No. So I'd potentially be looking at accommodation. You know, if I want to do anything over the summer, or I want to take, you know, in this theoretical world, if I want to take a mini break, okay, it's really like, okay, he would have to go into a category, then I would have to pay for accommodation, or if I wanted to do this, and there's all these kind of associated costs where it's like, okay, on paper, I move here, my rent is this, my council tax is this, but then it's also a colder part of the world. Even in the UK, our weather is changeable. It's a colder part of the world, so I'm going to be spending more on gas and electric, and it might not be as well insulated. So I did have to really crunch those down beyond that initial video and go, yes, okay, I am now going to have to stay local, because I have seen, because of him, the absolute advantages of having family support, or even a friendship circle of support nearby if you are not close to your family. Then it's also the case of, he's not going to survive a move, and being really, like, taking the emotion out of it, he's not well enough to move. And as a pet owner, and I hate to say it, a cat mum, because he is my baby. I cradle him enough times for him to be like a cat baby, and he is a perpetual toddler. Yeah, I am talking about you. He's not going to survive that, and I'm not going to do that. So then it becomes a case of, okay, my whole monthly budget structure is changing, and that's definitely why I've not been really releasing monthly budgeting videos, because it's changing week on week, sometimes every other day. So I would be continually having to release them, and there's not yet that set structure in place, and then let's just throw a 5-week month in. With regards to my current tenancy, so my my tenancy in this property officially ends in June of this year, in the middle of June. My teacher training finishes at the end of June, literally 13 days later. But as of that middle of June point, I would have been a tenant in this property for 4 years with a guarantor who has stepped in and made payments in the past. So they are not a quote unquote paper guarantor that you can never get hold of. They are very, very involved. Separately, my dad has a really, really good relationship with the letting agent in terms of they're quite happy for him to come in, and he's done small repairs and things like that, and they've trusted him to do that. So in terms of the tenancy, I feel like I can make a reasonable case for staying and renewing the tenancy for another year. Ideally, I'd like 2 years, and that would lock in the duration of my early careers teaching. But I think within that there is going to be a rental increase. So within the little kind of close that I live on, or the little kind of bundle of houses that I live, my landlord has 3 other properties. All of them are 3 beds. And my neighbour, who is an equivalent 2-bed without a conservatory, so she's got a tiny little bit less square foot, has had a valuation done for her landlady ahead of her rent going up. So my rent was fixed 18 months ago, near enough, at £850 a month. Obviously, we all know in the UK what the rental housing mortgage market has done. This property is mortgaged by my landlord. Her property, so the one next door, minus the conservatory, has a current market valuation of £930 a month. That's for a 2-bed. The 3 beds that my landlord owns within this immediate kind of, we're not on a housing estate, it's not quite a close, it's like 20 houses in a strange layout. It was like a weird builder's development like 15 years ago. He's got 3 of them. Those are 3-bed properties. They have had a rental increase from, one of them was rented like a month after I rented, so in 3.5 years it's gone up from £1,000 a month for a 3-bed to £1,350 for a 3-bed. So I know I'm going to get a rent increase if I stay. It's just then weighing up, okay, I know it's going to be a little bit more than the 2-bed that doesn't have the conservatory, because it doesn't have that extra quote unquote room or square footage within the house. But at the same time, it's a property that I'll have been in for 4 years. It's a property that desperately needs like some form of replacement carpets, because they were horrendously worn when I moved in. 3.5 to 4 years. By the time we get to June, they are bad. That all needs to be amended. The property needs freshening up. There's guttering that's in an awkward position. So far there's been an excuse for them to not go in and deal with it, but that is going to have to be dealt with. And the conservatory is a room which just traps damp and condensation. So as much as I'm airing it out, I'm starting to see kind of sills and things that maybe need to be checked in that conservatory. And that conservatory has been up for, I think the house is 14 years old, so that's how long that conservatory has been up. So the house, being a rental, is going to need work. So I feel like I can make a case for, a 950 to a 975. The maximum a single gal budgets. Hello to like the star of the show. Hi Sarah. I'm going to carry on what I'm saying, and then I'm going to get a tangent, but then we're all just going to fawn over how wonderful you are, even if it's going to make you awkward, just because. I feel like I can make a case for being like, okay, yep, I can go to like 950, 975, but these things absolutely need to be done. Or you need to allow us to do them and invoice you. If they want to push for anything over 1,000, I can't go to that, because at that point the take home for an ECT, so an early careers teacher, year 1 is £30,000 a year. which after tax, national insurance, standard deductions and things, and I don't even know yet if I'm going to sign up to the teacher's pension. I feel like while I'm paying off debt, I don't think I can afford to lose that from my wages. That's about a take home of, let's just make maths easy, £2,000 a month. I can't have 50% of my, so that's 30k gross. After taxes, deductions, it drops to per month. I just want to make sure, because the thing is, like, we've had national insurance change within the UK, so at the minute I'm working with like guesstimate numbers, so not accounting for teacher pension, which I don't know if I'm going to sign up to while I am paying off debt, and guesstimating the tax deductions and the national insurance deductions, and then potentially a student loan deduction if I don't go and do a master's. I am thinking about doing that. Separate video, separate tangent. I think that my take home is going to be around either 2,000 or 2,100 a month, give or take some change. I can't have 50% of that going to rent, because not only is it rent, it's then, for me, with the single person discount for my council tax, it's £158 a month on my council tax as well. So at the minute I'm not having to pay the council tax, not while I'm training, and now that the miscalculation's been cleared up, yeah, 2,064 after deduction, so about, yeah, but let's just say 2,000, let's round down and be safe. I can't go to a £1,000 a month rent. I know that if I stay in this area, I am going to look at a higher percentage of use the Twinkle calculator that is designed for teachers, says Diary of My Frugal Life. Thank you so much for that hint. I know that, like, if I stay in this area, which is something I'm going to make a conscious decision to do, I'm going to be looking at a higher proportion of rent to earning in terms of how much my rent takes. I want to try and keep it below 50%, and I'm hoping that there is probably a dream world where there is some element of, okay, we know we could probably get 1,000 for the property, but you've been a loyal tenant for 4 years, you're good in our books, like, you're good in our books, like, we'll keep you at 950. And then my proviso would be, but yeah, can you do all of these things? Because they're going to cost you money anyway, and I don't want it to be wake up in the morning to a massive stream of water coming through the conservatory because the sills have gone. And that's very much what we're looking at. If the past 2 weeks were anything to go by in terms of major flooding from like back-to-back storms, it's just a matter of time before they go, and I don't see that situation improving. In terms of working abroad, because that's just been brought up in my comment from Milk Tea Chilled, not while I have this one, because I don't think he's not going to survive the transfer abroad, I would say. The flights and things, it's just too much stress on him, and it's very much, I've not gone away and Googled, because I feel like Google and stuff like in situations like this is not the best, but he is on a 3-month to 3-year average window. If he outlives his 3 years, I will consider myself very, very lucky, and it be time, extra time. So whether I have him for another 2 months and his heart can't take it or not, but that's very much what it is. So he is very much dictating at the minute what I'm doing. And then you add in the practical things like the family support nearby. It is horrendous, and Donna said this as well. This is why I think you do need to give yourself some compassion if you have debt and you're a single household. And I've had to stop saying to myself like I'm a single income household, because I do, I have the student loan, I obviously get the bursary, I do things on Vinted, so I can set up multiple income streams if I have to. So I'm very careful about saying that, but a single earning household, it's exhausting. Let alone like how it is exhausting. And I think that really is, there's obviously like, oh, there's the singles tax, you have to pay for everything yourself, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but can we just take a second to talk about how exhausting that is to do everything? Because, and it used to really annoy me when I was working for a costume company that but on site within their offices. There were a few people in relationships, and they were saying how they would have arguments with their partners over like blue jobs and pink jobs. Like in terms of blue jobs are take the bins out, clean the toilets, clear the guttering. And pink jobs are things like do the washing up and cook the dinner, and that's as far as I'm going to go into like that aspect of it. But it used to really infuriate me because I'm like, well, there are no pink jobs or blue jobs, there are just jobs, because no one's going to take the bins out if I don't, no one's going to cook my dinner for me if there's no one else there, no one's going to do the washing up or the drying up, no one's going to feed my cat, no one's going to take my cat to the vets if I need to. And at the same time then it's like, okay, and now I've done all of these things, I've worked my day, and now I've also got to sit down and go, right, okay, I've now got to call my debt companies, and I'm checking the time and it's like, oh, they shut and they're not open on a Sunday, and they're not necessarily open on a Saturday, and okay, I've got to get to the bank to pay money in, or I've got to get to the cash point to take money out. When am I going to do that? And when am I going to post these things? My house is an absolute mess, and a single girl budgets has got it absolutely right. Like, I genuinely wish I had like the time to maintain. I think when I said like I've got this new setup, that was like over a week ago. It's still absolute chaos behind me, and like you can kind of see it here. I've literally got my hand for this video and just shoved everything and you can kind of see it all piled up here and then here. And it's still an absolute chaotic mess, and I'm not being funny. I want to get home and I want to like curl up with a pizza and just play The Sims 4 because I need to switch off, but I can't because the blue and the pink jobs, quote unquote, need doing. And it infuriated me when I heard this. Life According to Sian, like no one, like I don't talk to me about a singles tax, talk to me about how much time I am losing, because that's time that I'm not getting to list. It's time that I'm not getting to like find a bargain on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm going to have to buy the thing like full price because I don't have time to sit there and scroll for a bargain and then potentially drive half an hour to go get it. I don't have the time for that. And this is without anything else. And then potentially add on the fact that you may be a single parent, and you've got to do those things for your kids as well. So I've had to force myself to basically be compassionate about how I view my debt. I can't sit there and go, I'm going to be debt free in a year, because hi, this one's increased massively, how much he's costing, and it's still changing. It's also had an impact on the decisions that I'm going to make that's going to lessen my immediate cash flow, and it's also dictated being able to pay off a regular amount of debt. It's also dictating the fact that I'm going to have to take some of that really, really precious time and re-establish a more regular form of income, in terms of reforming the business. So that little pot of time that I've got is already shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and then where's my hours in the day? So I really wish I could be like a budgeting channel that was like, I'm paying, everything's gone to debt, everything's gone this month, these are all of the things, I'm emptying all of my envelopes, I'm doing this, and I can't do it because I don't have the time to sit there and like go through and do that. And then a part of me is always very much like panicking, and going, okay, but don't pay everything, so what's going to happen, he's going to open the vet again, something's going to happen. And I know that that's a little bit of a trauma response. Life According to Sian runs a small budgie rescue and then 3 dogs, and then that's added to the debt. Yeah, it is like, can we just talk about how difficult it is to be single in a cost of living crisis and you're paying off debt? Like, give yourself a break. I've really had to force myself to give myself a break. And when I got I think £60 for like Christmas, I didn't go like Diary of a Frugal Life, Raised a Son Alone, Working Full-Time, Paying for Everything Herself, Life Gone Shan, Wish You Didn't Have the Time Burden and the Debt. Yeah, I purposefully didn't take that £60 and go and put it towards debt or put it towards bills. I safeguarded it and spent money on myself. And I make a point of, controversially, giving myself a... Sorry, I need a drink because I've been talking too much. I make a point of giving myself spending money every single month. Not everyone can do that, and that is entirely their choice, and it's entirely their budget. And but I do think that, like, if you know, whatever your circumstances are, that you're in debt for the long haul, and that long haul is entirely determined by yours, Life Gone Shine, it feels safer having your space where it isn't continually paying things off. It's relatable. Yeah, it is. And this does really feel like my home. You know, I've been here for 4 years. It's the longest place beyond my childhood home that I have lived anywhere. And I have a really solid set of neighbours, weirdly enough, considering I'm a millennial and we don't talk to our neighbours. I have a really solid set of neighbours, and, you know, it's a good sized house and a safe area. I can't budget down to zero. Milk Tea Chilled says that as well. And you do, and a Single Girl Budgets as well said that you do need to treat yourself. Now, if you're a... Deirdre says that she's in debt for at least the next 2 years. She can't pay it off in a year on her incomes. Spending money in sinking funds are a godsend that you budget for. Yeah, you really do have to. And I do think that you need to be really, really, really compassionate. If you are either low income with no debt, or you have debt, and even if you're high income and you have debt, because the guilt factor, the guilt that sits with having debt, oh my goodness. My mum and I are not allowed to talk about money with each other because it's an argument, and I have a really good relationship with my mum. But she's never going to be someone that appears on the channel and we have a talk about money, because it would devolve into an argument. Because for her, if you have debt, you're not allowed personal spending money. Everything you have that's extra needs to go to debt. And you're not allowed personal spending money, and you're not allowed these things. Whereas I'm very much of the school of thought, and it's like, yes, I got into debt for reasons, whatever those reasons are, and they're unique to everyone. For me, it was spending on mindless crap to fill voids, and etc. And just general poor money management, shame and guilt as well. But at the same time, I'm gonna, like, it's also really, really important for me that I can actually manage my personal spending money really, really well, because that's one of the reasons why I got into debt in the first place, because I couldn't. And if you know your payoff is long term, like Milk Tea is saying, you need to be more realistic, consistent, and that means being realistic. And my realistic is like, yeah, I'm gonna go and buy a thing on Temu. Do you want to know what I bought on Temu, guys? Beyond, because I needed to, like, order some cloak clasps for my business, and this was some Christmas money spent. I bought, like, stickers. I bought stickers because I'm also doing bullet journaling, and I've bullet journaled a lot throughout my life, and now I am expanding it. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy those. Is this the most sensible use of my personal spending money that I bought at the personal start of the month? Absolutely not. For what is essentially paper. Do I care? No. Quite frankly, no. And that's because it's like, no, this is the thing that I've, like, ring fenced to waste. And I think as well, like Milk Tea was just saying, it's really important that you don't binge. And don't binge spend. And like December, end of December, January sales are a really hard time to not binge spend, because it's incredibly tempting with sales and things. But at the same time, if you know that's something you're prone to do, then allow for it and give yourself that in your budget. What I've definitely tried to do, as I've increased and made a conscious decision to increase paying my guarantor, for example, £300 a month, pardon me, paying them double this month, was like, okay, if you're going to do those things, you need to set aside You're spending money. Diary of My Frugal Life. I can spend loads on stationery. Do you guys want to see what my current issue is? I needed storage. I now have storage. I now have more storage. I now have more storage. I now have more storage. Okay, that's just washi tapes. And some of this is historic, but some of this is historic. I did not go and like binge a load of money on this month's spending on this. My family don't speak about debt or money. I pretend I've got none, but yeah. That's a massive problem. I don't know if you're in the UK, but it's like debt and money is a taboo. Wandering with Ruby, hello. Debt and money is like an almost taboo subject. Budgeting burnout while paying off debt is a real thing. Yes. This is why I don't do no spends. You'll never see me doing a no spend. Anyway, talking about what my current problem is, this is like over a year's worth of like stuff. We're talking about buying on stationery. Yeah, it's a problem, and you can't even see the Kallax cubes here with like the paper pads. I didn't even use this one. So what I'm saying is, yes, I know exactly what it means to binge spend, that you should not binge spend, but you do need to like ring fence. And I'm not even going to pull all the boxes of stickers down, but I've got like 20 of these complete with stickers. And then we go into the conservatory with 2 wardrobes full of ribbon and business related materials, and then we go to the garage with, I think I'm up to 21 heavyweight, the black kind of heavyweight storage tubs with the wheels full of fabric. Yes. And Wondering with Ruby says, milk tea, are you the milk tea channel? The problem is like if you get budgeting burnout, or if you get any form of burnout, you then find yourself spending more money. So I will absolutely advocate for having personal spending money while you're on debt. And actually, if things happen where you need to change your budgeting payoff timetable, or you decide that you're not going to, milk tea says no, or if you decide that you're not going to set yourself a debt payoff date, that's fine. It's fine, guys. Can we just be a little bit nicer to ourselves? And oh my god, like the shame and the guilt of debt is horrendous, because we know it's linked to other things. Like, I'm not a psychologist. I have no training in that regard. I only have my life experiences, and I absolutely know that like the act of me getting into debt for whatever reason, being you know, forgetting to pay insurances on time, to mindlessly spending. My first credit card that I got, I went and bought I wanted a Pretty Woman moment, so I went to the Boots Benefit makeup counter, in Boots, and I got a makeover, and I bought the range, the entire Benefit makeup range. And this was, when was this? This was like a decade ago. This is when I first properly got into debt that wasn't a student overdraft. And I wanted a Pretty Woman moment, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this. Like, let's not stop and analyze why I wanted a Pretty Woman moment, and then getting into that cycle, let's just feel bad about all of this like debt. And it's like, no, you need to analyze this and then also deal with why you feel bad about debt. And Dave Ramsey, I have a really complicated relationship with, because I genuinely dislike a lot of what he says, but some of what he says is quite sound. And he says it's 80% behavior and 20% money. Yeah. Yes, 100%, because like the maths don't lie. The maths do not lie unless you do your maths wrong. Deirdre says hers was uncontrolled spending that just grew. Yeah, mine was as well, because no impulse control. Well, it's better now. It's more like low impulse control. No impulse control and no concept. Because like in the UK, when you're a student, and there'll be American or Canadian or Australian viewers, our student loans is not anything like your guys's at all. So a lot of us don't view our student loan debt as debt, because it doesn't sit on our once you have a balance on a credit card, you can just get used to living with it. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. Because as long as you're paying the minimums, it's okay. Milk Tea says it's not on their credit report. Milk Tea, you're English, aren't you? Or you're from the UK? Yeah. So our student loan debt is not on our credit report. Let's just celebrate Ruby. So Ruby was debt free last year. Like, everyone celebrate Ruby, because well done, that's amazing, and it will feel amazing as well. I think everyone's waiting for that moment where that weight just lifts off you. So yeah, so it doesn't impact, our student loan debt doesn't impact on our credit report. We do not have the interest rates that American viewers have, or American, Canadian, Australians have at all. It gets written off when you get to 60. If you earn, Milk Tea might have the maths more correct than me, but I think it's something like, if you're earning less than, I want to say £27,000 per annum, they don't make deductions, and then the deductions don't get, it's like 9% of your overall balance divided by 12 taken off your paycheck. So for me, earning 30k, it's probably going to be something like a £130 deduction per month. Like, that's it. A single girl budget said as well, it stops you feeling lonely. Yeah, because the moment they drop a new Sims game, brilliant, I can just immerse myself in the... So I don't know for undergrad, because I'm 40, so I just paid the... Okay, so my undergrad was my fees. So American guys, do you want to just like vomit slightly? My fees per year were £3,000 for year 1, 2, and 3 each. And then I also got, we don't have access to like the student loans that you can take out for living. We have what's known as a back then, and I'm going to show my age here. I'm going back a decade or more. And it has changed since, but this is when I went through. We were able to access something called a maintenance loan, and this was determined by your parents' income. And because my dad was at the time over a certain income bracket, it meant that I then got an additional £3,700 per year for 3 years. People whose parents were low income earners, or at the time, also qualified for a bursary, so they got something like £6,500 to £7,000 bursary, non-taxable, didn't have to pay it back as well per annum, as well as school scholarships. So Milk Tea, who's older than mine, who's slightly older than me, said that her undergrad was £1,025 a year for 3 years. And so yeah, so our student loan structure, it's like you're not going to find many UK budgeting channels that make a big deal about the student loans, and some of us don't even actively include it in our debt. I don't. If I were to actively include it in my debt, bearing in mind that my current kind of status is paused, because I'm earning, my current student loan debt, including the PGCE that I'm doing now, is 40,000, and that's for an undergraduate degree, 3 years. It will be for a PGCE. We do have to pay, but we were again eligible for a student loan. So going the route that I'm going through teacher training means that you pay £9,250, but that is funded by student finance. And then I've also qualified for the student loan, which is the kind of bulk extra payments, and that's, I think it's something like 11,700 something pounds. So yeah, my student loan overall debt total is around 40 to 45. It's not gonna ever be added to my overall debt income as it currently stands. It's something that I may decide to, if I buy a house, you know, have that holiday to Sweden, for, you know, pay for a heart transplant for him, I don't know. I may then come back to it in like 10 or 20 years time and be like, let's just get that gone, because the deductions are annoying, but it's not having an impact. So that's why, if you are American or Canadian or Australian and you do follow UK budgeters and you're like, where's the student loan debt? That's where it's just not really a thing. And I am contemplating going ahead and doing a master's and completing a master's of education, because one thing I would really, really love to do is be able to move up to Scotland. So if I do buy, I want to buy in Scotland, and make that a permanent home. Obviously, he is like, yeah, we'll see. But to teach in Scotland, you need a postgraduate diploma, which is one up from what I'm going through which is the postgraduate certificate. And basically it's cheaper and easier for me to transfer my postgraduate credits, which is 60 credits of the 180, go to the masters. If I stay on this with the same university provider, I get a 50% discount, and it goes to half the time anyway, so I might as well go ahead and complete to a master's. So that's something if I go for it, I'll be applying for it this weekend for a September start. But that will also come with 3 additional termly payments to cover that. I don't know yet, but I am gonna look seriously into that. And again, if I do go for that and then I do get another year of 3 extra payments, that's something I can look at and go, can I afford to make an extra payment to debt? And that could shave some months off. But this is why I'm not setting myself a debt payoff timetable, because there's too many variables, way too many variables to play with, and therefore I've just had to grit my teeth and go, okay, I'm not gonna talk about the different things at play with kind of family, because sometimes family have opinions and those opinions can go suck eggs, because they're not living your life. And equally, I would be consistently contradicting myself in videos, because I would literally be releasing a video one week going, I'm doing this, and then go, yeah, do you know what, things have changed 3 days later, it's all gone for the birds, and this is what the change is. So that is definitely something which is, yeah, I would love to I would love to speak to, I do wish there was more kind of financial literacy and psychology around kind of being in debt and things, because it's such a thing we don't go suck eggs. I was going to say another thing, but I really don't want this live stream to be demonetized. And I have a really, really, really potty mouth, and there's so many times I've had to re-record a video because I've just sworn far too many times, and I'm gone, this is going to be really demonetized. I've got a really, really, really potty mouth for my accent. Do not get me started. A decade nearly in the film industry where you just exist on, in some cases, coffee, cigarettes, and hatred, leads to just your vocabulary just devolves. Financial literacy really isn't taught in schools, and it really, really should be, and A Single Girl Budget's got it right. One thing I have noticed is that they are starting to, when I've looked at job adverts, and I've looked at financial education should be a compulsory part of secondary education. Yeah, Single Girl Budget says the same. Milk Tea Chilled says the same. Yes, because all I had as a teenager was mum. It's PG rated. Could very quickly go to a 15 to an R, guys. The cat's ish. He's a potential toddler. We've got to keep it PC. What's the watershed on YouTube? Anyway. No, I do think that, but I work in healthcare, so I can say it in my head, not out loud. And I work with children now, and I just have to laugh at them instead of swearing at them. Because sometimes I just want to laugh and swear about the fact they're funny, and I can't. Yeah. Because this is the thing, my financial education was my mum saying to me, don't spend money. Okay. I love the fact that you're a saver and you can save loads of your money and that's your security net. I can't. I'm an impulsive spender, who's neurodivergent. It's a problem. Don't tell me no, because I will literally go and do the other thing just because. Hence why, 20 years later, I'm in the position that I'm in now. Picking up a few horrendous credit score and debt along the way. And it does feel like a weight, and just celebrating A Single Girl Budget's in the room. Even when you pay off one, a small weight lifts. And that really can't be underestimated, how much it feels like bricks on your shoulders. Yes, Life According to Sean. I've not officially named it on the channel, but yeah, yes. Anyone who's in the comments, yeah. And mainly because I feel like if I were to say I'm no neurodivergent, it's this, here's what it does. I'm not qualified. And I know, and I've already had a few people be like, can you talk about this? No, because I'm really not qualified to talk about it. Yes, it's a massive problem. So for anyone who is going, what's going on, I do have ADHD and autistic spectrum, but not heavily autistic spectrum, and impulsive spending, oppositional defiance to people who say don't go spend money. Do you know what? I don't like your tone. I'm going to go do it anyway. And lack of dopamine, not able to generate dopamine at all in your brain is a massive problem, because do you know what, like clicking on a credit card or account and buying a thing, the new Sims game or the new Sims expansion pack that you then go and know you're going to lose yourself into for hours of immediate gratification and dopamine is a massive problem, and it's really not talked about. And I was not the hyperactive kid running around in a classroom. Do you know what's really alarming? I'm going to go off on a slight tangent, again, ADHD, and then jump back. Milk tea. Sims is a bit of a black hole. Do you know that if you were to buy at full price the Sims games, you would have paid out something like £1,500? Now, I don't buy them full price. I go for discount codes and online keys. But yeah, talk about a massive black hole. That's an expensive game. Back on track. Yes, it's definitely something where it's not talked about, and I'm really kind of hesitant to address it a lot in my videos, because I feel like there would be questions that I'm just not qualified to answer, and I don't feel like I should be giving out incorrect information. The expansions on The Sims are a massive money grab if you pay full price for them. I don't pay full price, so I wait like a week and a half after a launch, and then I go to a separate website and download a copy. And I'm just gonna like say that I may say all the pirate seas every so often and get things that cost nothing or very little. But yes, and I was not the hyperactive child at all, and was not running around the classroom. What's really interesting now is I can see it in the students that I'm teaching and having to be like, have they got a referral? No, I think they might need one. But yeah, I wasn't like the hyperactive. I was incredibly academic and very, very focused on like, you know, making sure my reports were perfect. And it's something that I am having to monitor now that I am teacher training, and I do have an acceptable level of support and accommodations, I would say. But the urge to do an all-nighter is a little bit more frequent, just so that I can kind of tick off all of the things. But no one talks about it. And also, like, I will quite often have to go back and rewatch videos that I've recorded because I genuinely can't remember what I'm doing with my money. And that is with a old people pleasing issue. Yes. Yeah, I'll go out with you. Yeah, I'll go to that pub. Yeah, I'll come buy this thing with you. Yeah, we'll go do that holiday. Yeah, we'll go oh yeah, okay, yeah, I will get that car. Yeah, I will like buy this thing that everyone's gaming and doing. Oh yeah, those shoes. Yeah, I'll buy that. The Instagram adverts for things, the amount of time I have clicked on rejection sensitive disorder. Yes, I've had students make me cry 4 times this term because they said I was a crap teacher, and it's because I'd basically told them off for repeatedly not doing their work, and I had to walk around and try not to cry in front of the students, and as soon as they leave basically burst into tears. Now, was I fully in my right because that child was an utter menace and is known for being an utter menace and is known for saying things like that? And was it personally directed at me? No. Did I take it that way? Yes. RSD. because it's I don't feel like I'm going to be good at this. I don't feel like I'm going to pay off my debt. I don't feel like I'm going to I don't feel like I'm going to be successful. I don't feel like I'm going to get to my 5K challenge binder and complete it because I feel like I don't know how to hang on to money. And then let's just add in like chronic impulsivity. So yeah, I have had to go back and watch my own videos to remind myself what I've said and what I'm doing, because the memory is a black hole, and that itself as well is incredibly alarming. And it's not like, oh, haha, you've forgotten. There is just black space, and you know there's a memory there, and you know there's something really important that you need to retrieve, and it's not there. It's gone. That's incredibly alarming. And then you tie in debt guilt, debt shame, which are very natural feelings. And then you tie in the I'm going to fail because I've done this before and I don't know I can put all the steps in place. Oh, and then let's just add in like regular hormonal differences once a month, because that also has an impact on both the way we drive, the way we spend money, the way we feel emotionally. And then let's just add in, even if you have like a quote unquote normal brain, that's all an impact. And then let's just add that in as well. So yeah, I give myself a fudge ton. Controlling the language there, guys. A fudge ton of grace and compassion, and I want other people to give themselves compassion as well, because as much as I love my mum dearly, I have had to really carefully say to her, I love you, I will come to you in a crisis, you are excellent. I can't talk about money with you because we're going to have a serious argument, and it will get to the point where if this carries on, we're not going to speak. And I'm not going to lose that relationship, because here's the thing, I'm not going to back down from this stance that yes, you can have personal money, yes, you can save towards a mini break, yes, you can have multiple sinking funds, yes, you can change careers, yes, you can take on, in my case, more debt, student loan debt, to improve your long-term chances, and you can still pay off debt. Yes you can. And I was leading up to December, like before him, I was like, okay, I'm putting like, I think I can get to this £2,000 a month. I think I can get to like either just shy of 500 or 500 to put towards debt. We're going. We stop, because he's more important. Like, he's more important. A child would be more important. A partner or a husband or a significant other is more important. And I am like, I'm not scared of debt companies. And I think that is something that's not really talked about as well, is how scary it can be, like getting debt letters. I literally, as soon as they arrive, I know who sent them. It has the private and confidential, and then you look at the back and you go, I've been hearing for you for like 3 or 4 years. We're just going to put you in a pile and you're going to wait. And you can wait. And I think that like they're very good at making you panic when you open up the letter and it's like urgent X, Y, and Z. And it's like, yeah, okay, fine. You can wait. You can wait some more, because I've got rent to pay and I've got council tax to pay, and I need to feed myself, and I need to get to work, I need to heat the house, and I need to put the lights on, and I need to make sure there's water, and I pay my water bill. And do you know what? If they're now allowing, when you go through and you do an income, has anyone done an income and expenditure form for a debtor? You can now have cigarettes and vaping, and if you are addicted to gambling, that can also be accounted for. So do you know what? If they're accounting for that, I'm going to take 25, 50, 100, whatever pounds a week for me, and you're last. And if there's nothing for you, then there's nothing for you. But I'm not going to, like, I stopped being scared by debt letters a long time ago, and that has helped massively. So when I was ringing, and prior to A Single Girl Budgets being an absolute angel, when I was ringing and establishing in December who was what, and they were trying to pin me down to minimums that were not reasonable for the amount owed. And at the same time, I also was like, yeah, I don't even know how much he's going to cost yet. I can't give you an accurate information. I'll speak to you in a month, and I'll speak to you in a month. And I think that, like, it's really easy with debt to maybe wrap yourself up in minimums that are unaffordable, and go, oh my gosh, they've sent me this. I go, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. It's your debt. You can control it as much as you need to, and as much as you can, so that actually you don't panic. And that's really, really important, that actually you approach your debt with, like, for me, like, cold calculating, like military like precision. Okay, we're not going to get to theoretical debt conversation. We're not going to get to a reasonable, like, solution that's affordable. So I'm going to call you back in a month, and I'll speak to someone else, and I'll see what your system says then. And I think that helps. That does help a lot with, like, the debt and the shame, because you can feel really, really out of control with your debt, and actually you really need to take control of it. And a large part of that is not panicking every time you get a letter through the door. And if you need to take a month to look at that letter, then you take a month. Logical, not emotional for debt payments. Yeah. Because you need to be. Because if you're emotional, you'll commit to minimums you can't afford to. And then you're in trouble, because if you can't afford to pay your debt minimums, and you can't afford to pay your bills, and you can't afford to feed yourself, clothe yourself, heat yourself, get to work so you can earn money to pay those debt minimums, it's a problem. And in the UK, we have something what's known as priority debt, and actually you need to make sure you are paying. This is why, £800 was found from my budget across December and January incredibly quickly for council tax arrears, because they are a priority debt. If you have mortgage arrears, they jump to the top of the table. I think as well, what's not really addressed is actually if you owe someone you know personally, be that a family member, a friend, or in my case, my guarantor, money, that really is quite emotionally difficult. And then we've got the shame, and then we've got the guilt, and then we've got the panic. That's really difficult as well, because it's like you're not a nameless, faceless email, phone call, person at the end of the phone, text message, letter. I may have to see that person, or you may have to see that person every day, every week, every month. You may, if you've borrowed money from a family member. Milk Tea said debt isn't the same as in the US. There are some where you really don't. Yeah, you really, really don't. You really don't. So in the UK, we have what's known as priority debt and non-priority debt. Priority debt is, now correct me in chat if I'm wrong, it's mortgage or rent arrears. It's council tax arrears. It is heating, so gas and electric arrears if you're doing nothing about them. I think water arrears, and I think they have added internet arrears as well, because it's now classed as essential basically to a household. So it's anything that's classed as, like, essential to your four walls is classed as a priority debt. That therefore means that, and if I'm getting this wrong, chat, let me know, that therefore means that before, like, your credit card, your overdraft, your payday loan, your unpaid insurance, whoever, these guys take absolute priority, and if there is nothing left to pay for those guys, they have to wait their turn. I believe that is in law, written into law as well, but I'm not 100%, so I'm not going to confirm that. But they have to ask you, do you have priority arrears to these guys? And if you do, they're not allowed, they have to pause your account. They can continue to add interest if they're adding interest, but they have to pause your account. And that's to allow you to deal with these guys. Yeah, the Deirdre, wow, love learning these things. Yeah, in some ways it's like, I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, because I've never experienced living in America or Canada or Australia to know, but I know that if I had student loans coming after me and added onto my debt actively, and I had the collections activity, and I would say probably as well the access to credit from some places in America. Hello, mister. Okay. Yes. I know that I would potentially be in a lot more trouble if I did live out of the UK, and I think that's because there are woolly but some level of protections. Whether they are effective or not is not for me to say. I only have my own experience. Yes, I mean, I do feel really, really strongly, and I'm going to start to wrap this up in the next 15 minutes, or just so many things being impacted by credit score if you have a hard time. Yeah, because this is a thing, like I've done my video on my debt relief order. Anyone wanting more information on that, please go actually check out from proper like places. I'm not a financial or a debt advisor, so I'm not going to talk about it. I don't think I can either. But it's incredibly annoying having a credit score which is currently perpetually stuck in very, very poor. Have you ever tried negotiating lower amounts for paying in full? I will be doing that once I get to, so for example, this one here, which is Overdales. Once I've knocked that down to about 900, I'm going to see where I'm at with the 5k binder, because by then as well I'll know whether I'm moving or not, fingers crossed, and what that's going towards. I'm going to get to about 900 and on the balance and ring and be like, how much would you accept to take today? And yeah, the other ones, which the 3 to 4 that I've cleared with Sarah at Single Girl Budgets payment, everything that's left now, with the exception of Overdales and the guarantor, I think is under £100. So those I will just be paying either out of my monthly budget or I'll save up for a couple of months. I'm not ruling it out, but I feel like they're so small anyway, they're going to be like, no, you're just going to pay us the £83 or £86 that you owe you. This is the one where I'm going to try it, which is my £40 a month monthly payment, which is another one which is like, it's annoying, I want it to go. I desperately like, my credit score is going to be perpetually stuck in the very poor, or like the lowest segment, until November 2024. My debt relief order officially exits my credit file, so it would have been stuck on there for 6 years, basically dragging it down. My debt relief order will exit my credit file, and then it'll be updated in December, which is again another hassle. Like, I'm going to need to take the guarantor with me if I were to move, go through the referencing, go through the credit checks, and then they'd be like, you need a guarantor, and I'm like, yeah, no shizzle, I know. Here they are. We're going to call him Bob. Hi Bob, step forward please, with your salary, job a year, and your mortgage and your XYZ at the moment. Bob is not the name of my guarantor, but we're going to call them Bob for now. Yeah, and I think like Milk Tea Chilled, like that's like, yeah, you're doing like the best thing, I think, for you. Had Bowie been healthy, it's something I wouldn't have ruled out. It's definitely something I would have looked at. This is the thing, like him being as ill as he is, has had him really, like, I'm trying, because it's a cat at the end of the day, like I love him to bits, he's my baby, but he is a cat, having a massive impact on things I was going to do and things that could potentially help me pay off debt faster and my monthly budget. But I've committed to it, and I had to make a decision in November, and I decided that, yeah, he's gonna stay around on this earth for as long as I get with him, because that option was on the table, and I went, no, if you can save him, you save him. Yeah, so we don't have the Inland Revenue Service, but I would say any debt you owe to HMRC, His Majesty's Revenue and Customs, which is our equivalent of the IRS, you don't mess around, but you can definitely have a conversation with them. You can ring them up and be like, okay, can I pay this tax debt off over, you go through an income and expenditure and they look at your business. You're certainly not necessarily ruled out from operating a business, but they would go, you would maybe need to submit, accounts a bit more stringently or more frequently than you would otherwise. and you would have to kind of structure payments and do payment plans and things, and you can do that whether you owe, I think, £500, 5,000, 500,000. But thankfully, that's never something I've had to encounter. And I do, through the budgeting anyway, this is why I'm not really worried about this quote unquote like vintage side hustle tax thing that's come out in the UK, because it's like, well, I do recording anyway. And yeah, you like, if you just declare and you record, and even if you make a mistake in your recording, like they're not there to catch you out, I would say, in the UK. They are really, really good. They're not an agency which I'm going to have ever concerns over. And as long as you record and declare everything, which I do, which is why like everyone's panicking around, if you self-assess, regardless, there is nothing to catch. And I self-assess anyway, because I do actively sell. I've had some really, really good months on Vinted. I'm starting to get a YouTube sporadic earning from YouTube, and when I relaunch the business, I want that to earn me between £400 and £800 a month regularly. I think it's going to build to that. But yeah, like if you declare and you are not trying to hide and go off the books, you will be fine. They are trying to catch the people that don't, which is fair enough. You can earn 1,000 without declaring, yeah. But I would say as well, like, that's very, very easily done. My sister, the first thing she sold on Vinted, she sold an item for £300 for. And because she'd been, anyway, different world, but had been gifted a designer scarf. I mean, we're talking high-end designer. So even secondhand, she was able to resell it for £300. First time ever using Vinted. And yes, she works in the private school sector. So her end of year gifts from her students it's quite something. And not like your local quote unquote private school. We're talking like a higher. This is why I do have to be considerate of the fields that my family members are working in, some of them. And that's why I will be anonymous for as long as I can feasibly get away with. But yeah, her end of year teacher gifts are like Hermes scarves. just because, and enough John Lewis vouchers to buy herself a pair of red-soled shoes, not in the sale. Yeah, that's a different level of thing. Yes. She's made some interesting, and I would say for her, quite successful decisions. But yeah, so for her, like, she's like, well, what about this whole £1,000 thing? Because I've sold one thing. And I'm like, well, just declare it, you'll be fine. But yes, always declare. Don't try and deal under the table. You'll always get caught out. And actually, as we saw during the pandemic, those who had been dealing under the table all of a sudden weren't eligible for any support because there was no record of them earning. But they had been earning. It was called, I think it's called like black money or black cash, because it's off the books. It's like working for cash in hand, and I think it's something like black cash or black income, and it's where basically you're a labourer and you only declare like the minimum amount, for example, but yet you're taking home significantly more money. I think it's linked to I think it's developed out of the black market, but I'm not 100% sure, but that's definitely what I heard it being called during the pandemic. And they're like, where's our support? And it's like, well, funnily enough, you've declared a loss for the past 20 years, hon. You don't get support. I wonder why. The car you're driving and the house you're living in does not dictate that you are earning minimum wage in the UK, but there we go. So yeah, I'm going to start rounding it up soon so that you guys can go off and enjoy your Friday nights. And Mr. Bowie has already taken himself off to bed because he is an old man in cat years. He's not. He's 7, I think. But yeah, so if there's anything else that anyone wants to say, let me know. I feel like we've had a good chat. If you want to do another kind of Friday evening live kind of once a month, let me know. That would be really, really good, just to kind of get a general indication of being like, love this, hope you do it again soon. I'm gonna try to. I don't know if I can commit, because again, local roads being catastrophically flooded, adding 2 hours onto my day. My timetable's a little bit messed up at the minute. I'm going to try and do like once a month and do like a regular monthly thing. I am not going to, because I watch quite a few live streams for different people and they're like, smash the like, blah, blah. I'm like, no, that's not what this is for. This is like genuinely a really casual chat where I will go off on tangents and chat can interact or not interact. And we may feature Mr. Bowie and it's all fine if not. And have a wonderful budgeting week, guys. I am going to be back on Sunday with the sneak peek small change savings challenge, and if everything's gone out, and I've not checked my account for like 2 or 3 days, if all of my debt payments and stuff have been taken out, I'll update my debt payment trackers as well, and then that should be that all caught up ready for February. And then I'm just trying to think what else is coming. There'll be another video. I just need to think about what I'm going to record, because as you can probably tell, I don't do a lot of forward planning, and often it is just me pressing play and going go. Life According to Sean, thank you, definitely up for more. Single girl budgets, lovely chat. Milk tea chilled, yes. I think we'll do another one in like a month's time. I say a month, it's going to be the beginning of February, because why is January a 5-week month? Why? Do you know what? Bringing it back round to the start, I am going to, do you know what, guys? I'm going to make my new year, springtime. Because I just need to survive winter right now. Don't talk to me about resolutions and gym fitness and dieting and healthy eating. No, it's the depth of winter. My local area is horrendously flooded, like... just to make sure you are fully committed to 2024 sucking. Yes. 2024 is not going to suck. I'm just going to have to move my New Year's, I think, to spring so that I can survive winter. Because we're in the depths of, like, we're halfway through winter right now, guys, in January. Who on earth decided that that would be a good start to a new year? The coldest, longest month with the most treacherous weather that I'm going to get in my local area. Yeah, brilliant. Now I really care about new things and new goals. I just want to survive the month, guys. Is that too much to ask? So, I may be there with a set of new year, new me goals. It's like springtime. And you'll be like, Carl, are you okay? You'll be like, I survived winter. The road's only flooded. The road's only flooded like 5 times rather than 8. Yeah, our flood defences failed massively. Well, not that we had any to begin with, but there we go. 2024 I feel like it's going to be a really weird year. I feel like as a budgeting community, we're either all going to collectively smash it because we're like, well, we can't have another year like 2023, guys. Like statistically, that's going to be impossible. Or we're all just like channel by channel go, it's crap. It's crap. We can't do this anymore. We've gone and spent all our money. We're like, guys, we're done. I feel like there's going to be no in between. It's either going to be we're all going to be smashing it, or we're all going to collectively be like, I bought more storage on Temu. Let's hope it's we're all going to be smashing it. I feel positive despite all of the circumstances. I feel surprisingly positive. We will smash it. We will absolutely smash it. But I do have a feeling that like 2024 is going to be an all or nothing type year. A bit like those god awful football documentaries that keep coming out. And I'm a football fan, and even I'm like, oh no, not another one. Milk tea chilled. I'm saving for my pension. I have to. I don't know while I'm paying off debt if I'm going to be taking on the teacher's pension. Just because I feel like I'm going to need that money in my budget, particularly if I am staying where I am. But that is another video once I've done all of the maths on that one. Kat, what are you doing? Oh, hi. Do you want to come say goodbye to everyone? You do? Okay, hang on, guys. Come here. Come here. Come on, come. Come on. Come on. I'll give you some more ham if you come up and say hi. Here he is. Here he is. Here he is. Hello. Okay. Oh. Yeah, and I think as well, like when you change, just last final tangent for like the last minute. I think when, like, for me, my sister went into my sister went into teaching as soon as she graduated university, although she was in it for 4 years. So she's already got, for her, like nearly a decade of experience under her belt. I don't have that. I'm very much starting a new career. I'll be 32 by the time I qualify. By the time I get, if I stay a decade, by the time I get a decade under my belt, I'm going to be into my 40s. Like, I don't have the luxury of starting a career. This is also a trap. I know this. I don't like when you do transition into a completely new career and retrain, like you do find that I think your priorities change, and there are people who are like moaning, and it's like, yeah, do you know what, the grass isn't always greener? I've been the other side of that grass where like you're self-employed and everything's like you're doing a different job. I'm fully aware of the challenges I'm going into as a teacher. I am very, very aware of that. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I've come from one industry where everything is on fire. And you're there on fire with it, running around going, is anyone going to put these flames out? I don't think I will. No, we're just going to carry on burning. Okay. I'll take teaching any day. So, yeah. I think once I've paid off my debt, I'll be able to think a little bit more long term in terms of saving, retirement, planning, things like that. But whilst I do have that there, it's very much putting pause on things. But on that note, I am going to love you and leave you all. Thank you so, so, so much for joining me on this live. If you've liked, fantastic. Thank you so much. Milk tea chilled is 40, so a little closer. Yeah. I think like I think we do view things differently. I think anyone who has transitioned into a different career field. I hope you join me next time. I will, if 2 days notice, or was it a day? I don't even know. If a day's notice, 2 days notice was enough, let me know. If you had issues getting notifications or anything like that, let me know down in the comments, because I don't think I can retrieve the live chat after the live is finished. So let me know down in the comments if there were any issues with like notifications or anything, so I can look into that from my end. But have a fantastic weekend wherever you are in the world. If you have worked hard this week, put your feet up and chill. If you haven't worked hard, put your feet up and chill. I'm going to go and immerse myself in the Sims 4 and decide if I'm going to do an all-nighter. I don't need to do an all-nighter, I just feel the need to because high impulsive brain. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a wonderful weekend, guys. Bye-bye for now.